Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome back to the channel, and let's talk about this chunky new Jurassic World Evolution 3 update. Because this one actually changes how your parks look, feel, and even how your dinosaurs behave in some pretty cool ways, not just a tiny bug fix patch that you forget about 5 minutes later. So the big thing up front is that this is the update 1.20's 1.002.001 patch. It landed alongside the Wetlands pack, and there's a really important detail a lot of folks might miss. A bunch of the coolest stuff here is completely free, even if you don't buy the DLC. Let's start with the star of the show, Dino. If you played the previous game, you probably remember this absolute unit with the massive arms and duck-like beak. And it's back here as a full family unit, not just a single animal slapped into your hatchery list. You're getting adults and juveniles with all the social interactions that come with that. Picture this big semi-aquatic ornithomimosaur stomping through your wetlands, using those huge claws to forage and posture at anything that gets too close, while the little ones stick close and copy the adult's behavior. It's the kind of species that instantly gives your enclosures personality. And the best part is it arrives as a free addition to the base game. So even if you're just booting up to mess around in Sandbox, you've got a new headliner creature to build an exhibit around. Since it dropped with the Wetlands pack, the devs clearly wanted to push the whole swampy, moody park vibe, and that's where the new environment tools come in. You now have a cypress swamp brush that you can use in tropical and temperate biomes, and it doesn't just plop a few trees down and call it a day. It lays down low mist that creeps along the ground, adds those tall, gnarled cypress trunks, and generally makes your enclosures feel like the dinos are wading through some murky, prehistoric backwater. On top of that, there are new mossy cypress tree scenery pieces you can place manually. So if you're the type who spends half an hour fussing over one screenshot, you can really sculpt those cinematic corners of the park, frame Dino with trees and fog, and make everything feel much more atmospheric. Now, the island generator also got some serious love in this patch, and this is one of those things that quietly transforms the game for people who live in sandbox mode. Before, you were basically stuck with that classic tropical look. Now you've got 3 extra biomes for generated maps: temperate, desert, and Mediterranean. That instantly means your parks can tell completely different stories. Maybe you want a dusty desert facility with harsh sunlight and sparse trees, or a lush Mediterranean resort-style park with warm tones and coastal vibes. You pick the biome in the generator and it sets the whole mood from the first second you load in. But it's not just a cosmetic toggle. There's also a new beaches slider in the generator, which lets you decide how much of your island's coastline is soft sand versus cliffs. Want a big holiday resort feel with wide sandy shores and long stretches where guests can walk along, viewing galleries by the sea? Crank up the beaches. Want a dramatic, jagged island fortress with cliffs falling straight into the water and just a few landing points? Pull that slider down. That little tweak has a huge impact on how your layouts end up feeling, because your entry points, your monorails, even your lagoon placement all flow from how that coastline is shaped. On top of that, building placement and terrain editing can now go all the way up to the water's edge on generated islands, and scenery can be placed basically anywhere on the map, even closer to the shoreline than before. So the boundary between land and sea feels way more natural. User experience changes might sound boring on, but this patch actually sneaks in some quality of life stuff that you'll feel instantly. There's a new obstructions heat map, and this thing is a lifesaver. Turn it on, and it shows where dinosaurs of different sizes can move, where guests can walk, where vehicles can actually reach. It even shows up in the environment tools while you're editing terrain. So when you flatten a hill or drop a pond, you see in real time how that affects navigation. No more guessing why that one stubborn sauropod won't move into the back corner of the enclosure. You can literally see the invisible walls you accidentally created with rocks, trees, or weird terrain bumps. Building and decorating also gets smoother. There's a copy path style option now, which means if you've got one section of the park with a specific path texture and lighting that you really like, you can just copy that look instead of digging through menus, trying to remember which exact option you used. A new blueprints menu puts all your custom blueprints and anything you've downloaded from the workshop in one clean list, which is perfect if your old parks were basically modular build spam and you couldn't remember where half your designs went. On PC, the controls for building placement and editing are now rebindable, so if you've always wanted a different layout for rotating, snapping, or confirming, you can finally make it feel natural instead of wrestling the default bindings.